4:30 p.m. on the 28th of February. I'd like to call this meeting of the Whitman Middle School Building Committee to order. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would also like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded both audio and video for publication at a later date. We do expect to have 2 members participating remotely. Right now, 1 member is in place. That's Mr. LaMattina, and we are expecting Mr. Scriven to be joining us remotely at some point. All votes will be done by roll call as per the guidelines of the Commonwealth of Mass. First up on our agenda, public outreach. John, if you could...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Collier's first order of business is to introduce our new business development manager. Her name is Lisa Lopez. She's joined by me here.
Randy, can you hear okay?
Yes, I can hear. Thank you.
Okay.
We're very excited to have her, firstly, at Collier's, and also I'm particularly excited to have her helping with our project here at Whitman. She's going to be working largely behind the scenes, doing content, providing content for social media posting. She's also worked with me in the last couple of weeks to develop a draft of a community action or community outreach action plan that I'm hoping to share a little bit with you. And I'd just like to say welcome, and any questions for her, feel free to ask.
Good to meet everybody.
Welcome aboard. We're excited to have you.
So as I mentioned, we've been working on a draft project communications plan, and the preferred schematic option, pending tonight's approval, is going to be submitted for the MSBA on the 2nd of March. That's just days away. And then our debt exclusion vote, tentatively scheduled for the month of November 2023, is what we're really working toward. That's about 8 months away. The timing is perfect, submitting preferred schematic and then really getting this process started. And so what we've done here is we've broken it down, this communications plan, in terms of actions, and each action has a why and a needs and a suggested rollout date. So we'll just quickly go through it, and I'll take the first one. As I mentioned, Elisa is an expert in social media and website creation, and she will be working behind the scenes, developing that website, developing social media posts, providing the content. Why is this important to do? Of course, it's because we're trying to get this project in the minds of the town and the citizens. We're looking to provide quick-hitting details, dates about what's happening in school now, and how this project is going to improve the educational system. We're looking for data on the existing middle school, things that existing issues like we talked about in previous meetings. I think it's going to be really important to inform the community on what the existing issues are and why a new school project is going to be needed. So we'd like to roll this effort out starting on March 2nd to coincide with the preferred schematic submission. And this would go on through the election, so through the entirety of the year. Again, building up momentum as we hit the summer in particular and going right into the election in November. I can turn it over to Lisa if you want to talk a little bit about the videos portion that was recommended.
Yeah, so I think pictures are great, social media posts are great, but videos speak very loudly. So we wanted to get some videos over the next course of the next few months or so of some educators in the school, also some staff, and we want to hear from them why this project is beneficial for the town. It won't take too long to do, maybe about 30 minutes. We'll educate just 2 of the teachers and the principal as well, to just get a good idea of why. I want everyone else to hear it from the source. So we'll also talk about the educational value of the new schools, why it's beneficial for the children, and then love to even get some videos of the students, maybe just 2 of them. Obviously we would redo it, but that's something that we were thinking of doing, and we'd like to roll that out in the August and September timeframe. and then up until the election.
If I could just add, we're lucky enough to have our middle school principal and a very valued member in Crystal at the middle school. Would that be something you could help coordinate with? Any potential roadblocks you can see as far as students who we need to send things home, get permission from the families?
Yeah, we can definitely get permission. That should be no issue at all.
Okay, so Brandon, I'm sure will be a great resource for you. And I like that idea. Let's get it from everyone's perspective, so to speak.
Awesome.
So action 3, the Q&A is something that we've discussed in the past. It's going to be essential. We already know what some of the typical questions are. We're going to have a FAQ section dedicated to the website, and I think it's also something that we're going to be making public via social media, and probably some flyers as well when the time comes. But that's definitely going to be part of it. Action 4, town and school leadership outreach. This is something that we're recommending. It's not something that Colliers would be taking on necessarily, but I think that the town and its leadership is going to know your people better than anyone. And as we get closer to the election, we certainly want to look for buy-in from town and school leaders, officials, and spending some time talking to the community, certain groups, spread the word, getting the facts out about the project. We look to be doing this towards the closer to the vote, because again, we want to try to build momentum. We don't want the message to burn out too early. So I think that towards the end of the summer, when that project scope and budget agreement process is rolled out, when we know what the facts and figures of the total budget are, that's when we're really going to hit this action item hard. I can turn to you for action 5.
Releasing a community input survey. So everybody loves their feedback heard. We want to make sure everyone's feedback is heard. We want to take that and understand what these issues may be, what concerns that they may have, so that we can nip it in the bud. We want to, the needs that we'll need are to access the town survey account if you have one. You can do it on SurveyMonkey. I'm not sure if you guys have anything available. I think we also have some resources there.
Microsoft Forms is another one you can use too.
So we'll need coordination between ourselves and the town. And it'll just be a concise survey of about 5 questions or so to get a quick response from people in the community. And again, this will be rolled out lately in the late summer of this year.
The dedicated webpage you've seen, at least in draft form already, so that's intended to go live at the end of this week. And that will be continuously developed as we go forward with more information and updates as they come. So.
And then lastly, we just have an example of what a social media post could look like. So I created this. This is a Facebook template. So it's in the Facebook template. But anyhow, this is all information that everyone's already seen. We won't be using anything new, just adapting what you guys have already seen so that we can make sure that this is all approved information that we're sharing with the public. Something like this, we would post over Facebook, Instagram, and also on the website pages. And then also on Facebook, there are usually several different community groups that we would try to get this posted all over as well. So we want to take this exact same content and put it on a lot of different streams.
Something like this would start immediately. We don't simply need to wait till we get closer to the vote for this. We get this process kicked off right away, and the updates would, a weekly update might be a little overbearing, might be a little aggressive, but certainly a couple of updates a month, depending on how it goes. So that's our thinking.
So there's definitely a town page that you're going to want to be on, and it's definitely going to give you a lot of pushback. So my question is, how are you going to handle the pushback and possible negative comments and things like that? I mean, it's the page to be on, because that's where, there's 17,000 followers on it or something like that.
I mean, I think we're going to want to hear that negative feedback, and we're going to want to create a database of it, I think. And I think we're going to want to make sure there's no misinformation in there. And then as part of that FAQs page, we're going to set the record straight, so to speak. Make sure that the facts that are out there, there's no misinformation. It's not a...
So my question is, will we be answering comments on our posts? So if somebody posts something on a post that we make, somebody, some of these chains can get pretty long sometime. Who's going to be doing that? Are you guys going to be doing that?
I think that is a good option, and I think we should be commenting back, keeping everything very factual, emotions out of it. That's how I plan to do it.
Good. I will also say that on that same, what Mr. Galvin's referring to, are members who don't live in this town. And there's also another page that is a cleaner, nicer, non-hate version, or not, that is available. So I just think that whatever we do, we need to make sure that we hit all the different pieces, including the school's page on Facebook and everything else. Yeah, I don't want to see you as a new person coming on board and so far down that you leave the page like I did when I was a principal.
Yeah, there's probably four good ones, 5 good ones to get on, and definitely that one's the toughest one, but it also has the most followers, so by far. I mean, it's not even close. It's like 17,000.
Doesn't mean everything.
Well, and I can ask one of the administrators of that page if we could even have a spot on the top, a sticky, I think it's called, pin on the top. Pin. As far as that goes. Also, if we could keep in mind to drive people to our website for more videos, more information, etc. I don't know what Google Analytics looks like these days, but I'm sure that you can go into that website, you can put in the information, you can see where people are coming from, how many people are visiting the site, how long they're on the site, what pages they're hitting, etc. So that can help us to, focus at the same time. Also, I believe, Josh, the selectmen gave permission for a link to be on the town's website to go to our website.
Yes.
And providing the school district can do the same. I don't know if the committee needs to vote that, or...
we should be able to do that on time.
So that way there we have that many more resources for you.
That would be great. Yes, so that wraps it up.
Yeah, that's our action plan. At least we look at this as a working document. So.
One more thing, and Jeff, you were kind enough to say that we have unused space as a school district, or that the Whitman-Hanson Express provides toward education and town events.
Yes.
That perhaps once a month we could have a physical essay, so to speak, of the status of the project that would go into our local weekly paper. If you provided that content, we can get it placed. That might be able to reach out to more people as well, and those that may not have internet or be as internet or Facebook savvy.
Sure. Yeah, I want this to be collaborative, so if anybody else has any ideas or things that you'd like to see, please feel free to reach out. And this is also just a draft, so if there's something more, let us know.
Great. Looking forward to seeing everything that you can do. Mr. Bates said that you invented the internet. So.
Mr. Scriven is now on.
Okay, so John, when you're doing the minutes, Mr. Scriven joined at 4:43. Right.
So that concludes that portion of the agenda.
Next up is the preferred schematic report to MSBA. Troy, or would that be you that would address anything? Or John?
Tonight we're just looking for the final vote.
Okay. And I didn't know if there was any discussion, if anyone had any questions. We all received the final submission. It was marked draft, and the unmarked copy was sent yesterday. Was it? the link, but same document, just not marked draft. I don't know if everyone had an opportunity to read 452 pages since then. I glanced over it quite a bit.
So you can have a motion and then discussion.
Sure.
Okay, motion to approve schematic report.
Okay, motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Farrell with the second. Okay, discussion. Any questions or any comments, etc.?
I have a couple comments, a couple things that I just happened to see in this last read through. I don't know if you want me to email you, Troy. There was the date we're actually voting on page 10. You still have it as February 14th when we're actually voting today. And then on page 311, where you're talking about Whitman's form of government, and I think we had this as an issue before. You've got it as we're led by a town manager, and we actually are a town administrator, and there is a big difference between that. You got a new town administrator in there. So, and the other thing too is you may want to put Mary Beth Carter in there instead of Frank Lynham. I don't know if you still have Frank in there.
I mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, that's, someone else has added those comments as well, so.
Okay.
If they're not in yesterday's draft, I'll certainly do final.
I mean, I have a lot of comments, but most of it is going to be geared towards as we move forward. So, you know, I don't necessarily need to take the time of the committee today. You know, there'll be things that I want to discuss about as we go forward with them. So, other than that, those are the two things I just, from a proofreading standpoint.
Guys, make sure when you're talking, talk louder, put the mic in.
Okay.
Thanks. We could hear you, Fred. And John, you fizzled out a little bit. John.
Do you want to just turn the volume up on the speaker maybe at that?
Sure the mic's over there. Right.
And perhaps we can share it if there's...
Okay, good.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, we do need to do a roll call vote. I'm going to take the remote participants first. Mr. Scriven?
Yes.
Mr. Lamontina?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
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 Rich? Mary Beth?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
And yes.
And yes. So unanimous. Town meeting questions in timing, Mr. Bates?
Yeah, we would like to discuss the timing of the of the town meeting. It's important that we identify a date, whether that is in November of 2023 or whether it's in March, which I understand is the date of the regular town meeting. It's helpful for us to know that now, partly to plan accordingly for the public outreach process, but there's cost implications that it's incumbent on us to let the community know about if we were to move. So that's why we want to discuss it tonight.
Okay, so if you could go over what you discovered with the 913 days.
Right. So
and exactly where we would be with any timelines.
So the feasibility study agreement that you have with the MSBA expires 913 calendar days from the date of the board vote that they invited you into the agreement. So in your case, that was April 14th of 2021, and that would expire on October 13th of this year. Either way, you're going to need to apply for an extension in order to keep on our current schedule. We knew that going forward. We knew that right in the beginning. That's not new news, and the extension is not something we should necessarily stress about. It's a letter to the MSBA stating what the termination date is and what we would need for an extension. So that's the process. We're going to do that regardless of when the town meeting falls. And after so what we're targeting right now is an August 31st schematic design submission. That's to go in front of the MSBA board for their October 25th board meeting. During that board meeting, they would vote to approve this project to go into a project scope and budget agreement. Starting on that date is when you now have a 120-day window to certify the funding for the project. So I believe that expires in mid-February if you were to stay on the current track of going in front of that October 25th board.
Okay. And watching the selectmen's meeting the other evening, it was addressed, and I know it was brought up that there is a presidential primary in March of 24, and there seemed to be an appetite for the ballot question to go forward on that date, which would probably require a February or beginning of March special town meeting, as our annual town meeting doesn't occur until beginning of May.
If that were the case, and this is just how it works schedule-wise, we would then submit the schematic design in October for it to be put in front of their December 2023 board meeting. And then that 120-day window would start in December, and that would get us through April. So that would cover us if, in the event that we had a March town meeting in 2024. That's, option B.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned there was some financial implications of putting it, was it basically 3 months out?
If we're talking about postponing the schedule, there are cost implications, most notably exposure to construction cost escalation. So we don't know exactly what those escalation rates are going to be a year from now, but conservative, Mr. Gell.
Well, no, finish, I'm sorry.
No, just, if we were to say 5 to 6%, we could be talking $500,000 to $600,000 a month every month that we get further, every month that we push that bid date back, right? So that's something that we need to consider.
So I actually did a little figuring on that today. We're talking about, time moving on. So right now we have a price of $127.5 million. That was actually given to us about 4 or 6 weeks ago. And what we know from our presentation that we got is that basically every month the estimate is the price goes up 0.5%. That was in the presentation that we had. So just between right now and when we got the numbers, the prices have gone up. How much? Let's just say for round numbers, it's gone up. It's $130 million now. Okay. So in 8 months, when we go to November to have a special election, that's another 4% it's going to go up. So now it's gone up to $135 million. That's just between now and November. But it's now going to take a year or 13 months for Troy's group to actually come out to the plans to where the following December we're actually bidding the actual construction costs. That's another 6.5% it's gone up. So now we're closer to $145 million that this project's going to cost. If we push it back 4 months to May, that's about $3 million more the project's going to cost. So I understand wanting to have have a full turnout, but it's going to cost us probably estimated $3 million. And $2 million of that's going to fall to the town because we're going to be responsible for $2 of that $3 million. Hopefully that's what it'll be. So it's a pretty expensive decision to make, in my opinion, to put it off. I'm also questioning, if we go to a presidential election, we're going to have a significant more number of voters who are underinformed on the project because we're not going to be able to get to them all. If we have a November election the people who are informed are going to come out on both sides. There's going to be the people that want it. There's going to be the people that don't want it. But they're all going to be educated. They're not going to show up unless they have an opinion on it. Where there's going to be a significant amount of voters in March who are walking in to not vote for Mr. Trump or vote for Mr. Trump or whatever, and they're going to see this on the ballot and say, oh, what is this? Well, geez, I'm not going to vote. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? So that's my opinion. Financially, I don't think it's worth it. And to me, having a more defined special election for it is going to get the informed voters out there.
Go ahead, Beth.
So I agree with John. I don't think that we should put it off. I think when you're looking at, if I go by just what John said, the $3 million, I don't think it's going to cost $3 million for a special town meeting or a town election. So we would actually be saving the town money if we had it in November versus waiting. I really don't want to put this off anymore. Plus, the longer we wait, the worse that building gets. And the more stress we're putting on the building, the more stress we're putting on the students there and the teachers there. And I'd like to see it moving, not be stagnant because we're concerned about an election. So that's my opinion.
I did have one question. The 127.5 million, it was my impression that that number was estimated as to when we would be going toward a ballot, and then that number would be getting refined. So it already carries escalators in it. It's not today's number that's anticipated what would be November's number when you provided that. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. A couple of things that is correct as far as the anticipated value and when it's projected to bid, which is after election, after the development of the documents, with the, I can't remember, it's the spring of 2025, which I believe is the date anticipated at this point for bidding. That being said, Mr. Galvin, as we did some quick math based on the independent third-party cost estimator, what they anticipate for inflation escalation at this point was about 6% per year. So if you take the vote, move it from November to May, or a 5 to a 6 month time frame, then you're looking at about 3%, somewhere around there, which is about $3 to $4 million that Mr. Galvin was talking about. So there is that.
Yep, one sec, ready? Did you have a question?
They keep on saying May. We never said May, Fred. I mean,
right, we said March.
The primary in March.
Right.
So, I think some of these numbers are getting inflated because people are saying May, but
so November to May, or November to March is 5 months, correct?
Yeah.
Am I, okay. So which is about 3%.
The towns are going to hold a vote of bonding $71 million on Thanksgiving week. I disagree with let's get this project going, and you know, at the beginning of this meeting we talked about PR. So if the PR people in the community outreach are doing their jobs correctly, then we shouldn't have uneducated voters if it gets pushed off like this. I think from the town standpoint is we've looked at where we see turnout on single issue ballots. And I think the board as a whole is not very comfortable seeing that fewer people put the issue on the ballot of either single largest, either debt exclusion or override in the history of this town. So, I mean, that being said, you know, I would have thought with my question put out there that this really, the board of selectmen is going to decide what the date is. new town administrator. And I think maybe a possible presentation or a call needs to be made to her to clarify that.
Thank you. Troy, did you have anything to add?
No, that's fine.
Now, Mr. Bates, I'm going to put you on the spot. Are we under the gun? We have our submission going in on time. Are we under the gun in the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to have a letter drafted to MSBA giving something?
No.
Okay.
No. None of it, no.
So perhaps our better plan could be to lay out the options to the Board of Selectmen at their next meeting, if we could be placed on the agenda, and for them to be able to come up with a qualified decision.
That's fine. Timing-wise, that's fine. Just as a reminder, though, the letter will need to be written regardless. That's to extend to the October 25th deadline.
So we know we need a letter, and we know we need an extension.
Right.
It's just a question of to what date and what's going to be the best date to hold a special town meeting followed by a ballot question.
Right.
Or hopefully followed by a ballot question. Getting ahead of myself. Mr. Lamartine, does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
And no problem to place this on the agenda for your next meeting?
As long as we have enough information, and the town administrator feels we have enough information to make a qualified decision, then it will be placed on the agenda. I just personally just taken back by a 3-line email that costs up 2.5% a month, and slightly frustrated with knowing that we had to file an extension anyway, because we weren't going to meet the date. I mean, we're really talking about one MSBA meeting difference. The town would not be able to do a special town meeting anytime probably before the 13th, because we have to set the tax rate, which is about the middle of November. Like I said, a vote of this magnitude, I personally don't feel it should be falling in a holiday period. And as you watch the meeting first, like I know you did, I think the board as a whole has reservations about that. So I think it would be pushed off anyway, but for maximum turnout, we would talk in March. Could it be sooner? Absolutely. Again, that was based off the general discussion that for this committee's previous meeting, I said I would take it back and I would present some information to the board, and that's where we ended up. I'm not the sole decision maker, but I certainly would like some more information to bring back to the town administrator.
Okay, and we will coordinate, or at least between Colliers and AI3, they'll coordinate with Mary Beth and go over all the options so that she can present them. I will make every effort to be at your next meeting as well. So if there are any questions, and perhaps Colliers and or AI3 would like to join me at your meeting should there be any questions, but we will make sure that Mary Beth feels comfortable with having all the knowledge that she needs to move forward.
Just, we do send out the agenda normally on Thursday to the selectmen, and tomorrow is Wednesday. Will I have information very quickly?
So it's next Tuesday's your meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
And then after that, it's the 21st.
Okay, so can we coordinate something for as early as tomorrow morning? I don't know if you have availability for a Zoom or a Teams meeting and go over everything that way?
Probably do that, yeah.
I can make some time, John. So.
Okay. All right.
May I ask just for a clarification, just probably for the minutes and for my own just knowledge, 2.5% is per month, that was referenced several times, and where did that come from?
I said 0.5%.
That's my understanding, is it would be 0.5. Yeah.
All right. Account and invoice approvals, everything's been done at an earlier meeting. That's a placeholder. So we're all set. There. Old business. Is there anyone that has anything from under old business to bring up? Seeing none. At this point, I would ask a very quick question. How did the phone system work for you folks, Randy and Chris?
So I was just on the sidebar with Randy. For the most part, it's pretty good, but particularly like John Bates, it's very difficult to hear. He trails off. And if people are talking at the same time, it's just all kinds of interference. So, it's better than it was.
Okay. Well, we'll continue to try and make improvements.
Thank you.
That being said, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First and second. Roll call. Randy?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
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 I'm yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
We're done. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.